I've just watched the video about the new Dungeons and Dragons magic item section in the DMG, called the treasure section. They talk about crafting simple magic items. Immediately I'm thinking of health potions being the most obvious. While we get crafting rules-ish in the PHB, crafting magic items in the DMG talks about you need the Arcana skill, and you need to be a spellcaster, and you need to have tool proficiencies to craft these items. It makes sense. I like it. If you were a wizard and you want a wand of magic missiles, you need to be able to cast magic missiles, okay? You need a stick, some wood, and you need time, and you need the money for the cost. It's a pretty easy, obvious equation. Obviously, that is down then to the dungeon master to decide what things are available where you are to go do a survival check and find in the wood. Or even the town. Is it a rundown town? Is it a place where there's everything you could think of at a cost? But those are the reins that the DM has to a degree, because now I'm one to throw magic items at my players. Pull out cards, here, this is for sale, and that's just my decision. But it's our decision to say, no, there's no magic items here in this town for sale, if that's how you want to deal with your players. So there are some reins, which we'll get to again later on. So because of bastions coming in, basically the castles, houses, mansions, whatever, where the players effectively live, they can hire people to go out and find these ingredients on behalf of them. Cost is gold, obviously, but not so much time, because they're out adventuring, they come back, oh, this is what we found. Now I've been crafting you these potions. So hirelings, you know, have more of a side story, hireable side story for that money that they find along the way. Not everyone wants to hunt, do they? But some players will want to go into the trees. I'm looking for these flowers to make these potions. I'm looking for these crystals in deep dark caves to hold the spell itself in the magic item. Yeah, not everyone wants to do that. Some people just want to buy it. Well, look, do you sell it? Right, I'll buy it off you. 50 grand? Yeah, sure. But now players can decide to hunt. If they know the ingredients, you need this, this, this. Right, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to paint it like this. I'm going to flavour it like so. It smells of this when it casts. You know, they can actually put these things together if the DM allows. So they can make their own health potions which taste of Coca-Cola. Or they can say, well, my rod of lightning looks like this because I made it and I should know. And if they're going off and finding the pieces, then it's up to them in a way if they have it. So you're not dishing it out as a DM. It's like, well, I'm making it, mate. You can't stop me. You can stop them, because no, you don't find those things. It's a bit of a two-way discussion. Now, in my home game at the moment, one of my players has got a bag of holding and he's filling it with as many darts as he can, because when you tear it, he wants to think it's like a grenade. It just basically says that everything falls on the floor, but it's much cooler if I just say, yeah, it's going to explode and everything's going to actually shoot out. Again, that's one personal case, and it's my own game. Now, Todd mentioned in the video magic item envy from NPCs, villains, etc. You know how the NPCs that they meet and they see it's wearing a ring of protection, that your players are like, I'm having that when I kill him? Well, as soon as they've got this new magic item and they're walking through towns, they're walking wherever, in caves, a lot of the enemies might be like, oh yeah, they're a bit blinged out with magic items. We'll be ambushing them. It's give and take. I gave my players a deck of many things, and yes, it ruined the game, it broke the game, it twisted the game, I prefer to say. It's a one-off, they'll probably never get it again. But the deck of many things comes with its own hunters who want it back to destroy every copy. So they ended up fighting harder and harder enemies, and eventually they gave it up. They were like, look, have it, too much problems. So, you know, you have the option of taking them back. Don't be afraid to take back the magic items. So in this DMG, there's the Dungeon Master's tracking sheet, so you remember how many items you've actually given out, because that is where power creep definitely comes in, when you've given them these things that you forgot about or gave them on a whim and now you regret. So they've got who created this magic item, histories of the magic item, and the quirks. They mentioned the loud property, that when you use this magic item, it gives a loud sound. Sounds like lots of fun. If you want to bake in minor benefits or curses, which have always been a thing at home games, I think. I think we've all played magic items like that. You know, it has the artifacts section in here with the minor and major benefits and, like I say, curses. And then one of those things is the sentience of an item, whether it has a spirit trapped inside, whether it's animated, and how players can end up having a battle of wills with this damn thing which won't listen because it's got a higher intelligence and does what it wants. It has the stats. It just reminds you that this is how the magic items can play out. There is a charisma save for the player to persuade the item to do what their player wants it to do. And if they fail, the magic item will have demands, like oil me in a hot oil bath for an hour every day, or I'm not going to work for you anymore. Then they talked about some of the magic items in the new DMG are from Xanathar's Guide for Everything. There's a lot of that pinching and trying to put in one place, and I get it. It's great for new people to the game so that they can see more in one hit, in one thick book. And we can argue about money for old content all we like, but regardless, if they did do a 6th and a 7th and an 8th edition, I'm sure we'd sink our money into it. And not everybody, but many of us. This guy would. So yeah, let's say the Arrow of Dragon Slaying, now it can be any like ranged item. The Bullet of Dragon Slayer was the example they gave. So those one suggestions become suggestions of many things. You just pick it on, put it on something else. And then I've avoided talking about the art because that's all I ever go on about. But you know what? The art in the PHB, hands up, was very good. Is it padding? Is it filler? I do feel a little bit, but now I'm just letting it slide. Yeah, great. I'm sure it looks beautiful. And again, well, the first time I saw a wand of magic missiles, I was like, oh, that's lovely. Gives you an actual description. You find this thing and it's shaped like this, and you don't say it's a wand of magic missiles, you allow the player to sort of actually go, I think I know what that is. And then finally, they mentioned the random magic items tables, which link to the Monster Manual book coming out next year, which ties in what monsters hoard, for example. I thought they were going to say carry on them and drop as loot, which you could do, but there's more of a link between you find these in that lair or, well, I haven't seen it yet, but that's what they were saying. Do you give out magic items too easily? Let me hear about it.